Overwhelmingly positive is the best rating a Steam game can get. So if a game has it, it usually means it's a pretty good game. So today, I'm going to be showing you guys some newer games that have the rating. Alright, first up is Crime Scene Cleaner, a game where you step into the shoes of, well, a professional crime scene cleaner. Your job is to clean up after crimes, which involve dealing with a lot of blood, evidence, and sometimes even bodies. It's not just about cleaning though, you have to make ethical decisions about what evidence to dispose of, which can affect the game's outcome. You'll be using various tools like mops, sponges, and even a power washer to scrub away the mess. The environments are highly interactive, so you can move furniture and search through drawers, which sometimes reveals clues about the crime. There's a narrative that unfolds as you progress through the game, tying all the crime scenes together into a larger story. Next up is Fallen Aces, a game that throws you into a gritty, retro-styled world where you take on the role of a detective trying to clean up the crime-ridden streets of Switchblade City. The game is styled like a 1940s comic book, complete with mobsters, detectives, and vigilantes. It's not your typical shooter, instead it focuses on melee combat, stealth, and exploration, offering a mix of action and strategy. You can approach the game in different ways, whether you prefer sneaking around and taking out enemies quietly, or going in fist swinging. The combat feels like a chaotic bar fight with options to use various improvised weapons like lead pipes and baseball bats. The story unfolds through in-game dialogue and beautifully illustrated comic-style cutscenes. Up next is Abiotic Factor, a game where you find yourself as a scientist in a secret underground lab during a wild alien disaster. It's a survival crafting game where you and up to 5 friends try to make it through the chaos. The lab is a maze of different departments, each with its own unique look and gear to discover. You'll be crafting makeshift armor from couch cushions and scavenging snacks from vending machines to keep going. The game has a quirky sense of humor, letting you choose traits for your character, like having a weak bladder for more sprinting power. The game is still in early access, so the story isn't fully fleshed out yet, but there's a quest to escape the lab alive. Every night, the power goes out, adding to the tension as you navigate the dark halls. It's a fresh take on the survival crafting genre, focusing more on creativity and problem solving rather than the usual tree chopping and cabin building. Next up is the WereCleaner, a free-to-play stealth comedy game where you play as a janitor who also happens to be a werewolf. Your main task is to clean up messes in an office building during the night shift. But there's a twist. You have to fight against your werewolf instincts and try to not harm any of the office workers. If you do accidentally run into someone, you have to clean up the evidence quickly. The game is set in an ever-expanding office space filled with secret routes and handcrafted details. You'll navigate through 7 levels packed with wacky scenarios and surprises. Up next is the popular Black Myth Wukong, an action RPG that pulls you into a world inspired by Chinese mythology. You take on the role of a monkey character known as the Destined One, who is based on the legendary Sun Wukong. Armed with a magical staff that can change size, you're set for an epic adventure filled with challenging enemies and intricate combat mechanics. The game is a single-player experience with a third-person perspective, and it incorporates Souls-like elements, meaning you need to manage resources like stamina and focus carefully during battles. The story unfolds over 6 chapters and features multiple endings, taking you through various real-world inspired locations. Next is Shapez 2, a chill factory building game where you get to create and manipulate geometric shapes in a space setting. You're tasked with extracting basic shapes like squares and circles, then cutting, rotating, stacking, and painting them to form more complex shapes that are delivered into a central vortex. There's no rush or pressure since resources are infinite and there are no enemies or time limits, letting you focus purely on designing and optimizing your factory. The game is all about logistics and efficiency, offering a zen-like experience as you watch your conveyor belts and machines work in harmony. You start with simple tasks, but gradually unlock more complex challenges, like layering shapes or adding colors, which require thoughtful planning and creativity. Next up is Tactical Breach Wizards, a unique turn-based strategy game where you lead a team of wizards decked out in tactical gear. The game combines magic with military tactics as you unravel a modern conspiracy plot. It's set in a colorful world filled with quirky characters, each with their own magical abilities. The gameplay is a mix of puzzle solving and tactical combat, where you can use spells creatively or even rewind time to try different strategies. The game keeps things lighthearted, frequently injecting humor into the story and dialogues. Before each mission, you'll enjoy entertaining conversations that bring depth and personality to the characters. Up next is Fields of Mistria, a farming/life simulation game where you get to manage a farm and help rebuild the town of Mistria after it was hit by an earthquake. The game combines elements of farming, fishing, mining, and crafting, all while interacting with the townsfolk to raise the town's renown and restore it to its former glory. Set in a village between the forest and the sea, the game offers a nostalgic experience reminiscent of Stardew Valley, but with its own unique twists. You can customize your character, build relationships with over 30 villagers, and even start a family with one of the 12 marriage candidates. The game also incorporates magical elements, allowing you to unlock spells that aid in farming and adventuring. Next is Nightmare Kart, a free-to-play, fan-made kart racing game that takes inspiration from the gothic horror world of Bloodborne. The game features a retro PS1-style aesthetic with chunky polygons and pixelated graphics reminiscent of classic PlayStation games. In Nightmare Kart, you race through gothic landscapes on tricked-out karts, battling opponents with a mix of racing and combat mechanics. You can use power-ups and weapons like lever-action shotguns and Molotov cocktails to gain an edge. The game includes a full campaign mode with boss fights and offers 15 tracks and 21 racers to choose from. There's also a local multiplayer mode for split-screen racing with friends. Next up is Thank Goodness You're Here, a comedy adventure game set in a quirky town where you play as a traveling salesman sent to meet the town's mayor. But while waiting, you end up helping the townsfolk with their oddball problems. The game is filled with British humor and a whimsical art style that brings the town and its characters to life. The game is linear, with no inventory or quest log, making it more of a walking sim where you experience the story and humor as you go. It is a short experience, around 2 to 3 hours of gameplay, but it's packed with jokes and absurd scenarios that keeps it entertaining the whole time. Up next is Dale and Dawson's Stationery Supplies, a social deduction game set in an office environment. You can take one of 3 roles in this game: manager, specialist, or slacker. The slackers aim to disrupt the company by blending in and mimicking the specialists to avoid suspicion. As the manager, your task is to identify and fire the slackers before they cause too much chaos. Specialists work alongside the manager to root out the slackers, but you have to be cautious with your decisions because too many wrong terminations can lead to a slacker victory. The game utilizes proximity voice chat, making real-time decisions, alliances, and accusations a key part of the experience. And lastly, we have Nightmare Files Clap Clap, a short, free-to-play horror game where you find yourself as a house sitter experiencing eerie events in what seems to be a normal home. The house you'll be staying at has the latest home automation system of the 80s, the clapper. Every time you clap twice, it'll turn the lights on or off. As you navigate the house, you're advised to not snoop around too much, hinting at the lurking dangers that could be triggered by your curiosity. Your main tasks include checking the mailbox, watering plants, and taking out the trash, but there's a constant sense of unease as you navigate the house. All the games in today's video will be in the description down below with a link to their Steam page. If you guys enjoyed today's video, hit that subscribe button, and why not watch another one? YouTube thinks you'll like the video on screen now.